Hey, you guys, it's Haunting Monday. Mm-hmm. Yay.
Good little shows.
These are fun.
Good little shows.
He's always like, Tom was saying last night, he's like, it's almost kind of like a little treat, like getting to watch a haunting episode, like on Sunday nights. So
yeah.
we can, like, we have a cocktail and watch a haunting. And
then try to analyze the case.
And I sit here writing down. And please forgive me, I did not have time to type up my notes. So I have, like, this is my notebook here. And because I just wrote them in the notebook, like, while I was in the other room, like,
writing the notes down,
like old school by hand, like in not.
Yeah, there aren't any transcripts or any of this to this one. This one's a little tough to figure out because there's not much evidence.
Well, and the thing about it too is that it was one of those ones. This is a really good episode, actually,
yeah, good episode,
I had forgotten about this one because I forgot that's what this one was called. But this is one where the people didn't want to appear, so they're in shadow. And I'm assuming then that they didn't use their real names. Like, they named them, but I'm like, that'd be pretty dumb if they used their real name and then, like, just sat in the fucking shadow.
Yeah, so when that happens, you can't find anything. You can't really find out what the case is from their point of view. You got to go with whatever haunting says, whatever the haunting series says.
Yeah.
So you didn't actually find the raw case.
No.
Anywhere. Okay.
No. So we don't
behind
know.
a firewall.
Well, unless somebody has like had more time to like do more sleuthing than me, but I didn't really have a lot of time. So
yeah, and usually, we know the haunting series pretty well. They pad that case out. All right, they fill that case out quite a bit, and sometimes they'll leave whole storylines out. They'll leave whole people out sometimes. So, even though this is a great episode, I wouldn't take it at face value. I wouldn't take this one.
Well, it seems like a lot of the stuff that happens is pretty, let's call it like definitive, in the sense that they're pretty sure that this is a ghost and everything was like supposedly crystal clear, like all of the evidence that they had, but of course they didn't show any of it.
They didn't show any of the evidence.
Like, really?
Like EVPs, they said they had them, they didn't show them.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I'm skeptical.
Photos of ghostly babies. They showed a mock-up, but they didn't show the actual photo.
I kind of sounds like some weird like indie band album name. Photos of ghostly babies. I kind of want to write a story called that now. I don't know. I just like the cadence of that phrase.
Yeah. And the guy investigating seems sincere, but you got to take everything at his word. And like I said, we know by experience of dealing with the haunting, when you actually look deeper into it, the haunting series leaves a lot out of what actually happened or what was reported to happen. So you can, so we don't really know. And what was described, really not all that impressive. Mostly just footsteps. I think the only thing that actually moved is somebody threw a fucking candle.
It wasn't a candle. It was it was a bottle or something.
It's a bottle. That's what it was. Goes through a bottle. They heard footsteps.
This was much more like a haunting, like actual ghosts, rather than like poltergeist activity.
And they're doing shit like seances and shit, using little fucking things that point things to, and what is it? Fucking using Ouija boards to try to get messages from beyond. Boy, and that really fucks you up. As soon as they start talking to the from beyond. Because you're going to get all kinds of stories. And are they ever going to prove the stories? No.
Probably not.
No. It's shit. They're going to say, yeah, we dig here, we'll find it. That kind of shit. And then we couldn't dig there. It's going to be shit like that. Whenever you're dealing with Ouija boards and dowsing, and there's always a chance of a human hand in there adding to the case. So like I said, you can only take it at face value. You can only take it, the haunting's word for it. It's a tall tale, but it's a good episode.
It is a good episode. Yeah, I don't know if I believe it, but it's a good episode anyway. Like, just for, like, it would make, it's good for, like, a fictional story. Zach says, there are only ever 2 reasons to appear in shadow on TV. You're in danger or are more full of shit than a competitive eater. Samantha B said, what's the case? What town and state? They said that it was in Montreal in 1996.
Yeah, and the case is Darkness Follows.
Darkness Follows.
Darkness Follows was a good one about the ghosts of an abortionist who killed some girl during a botched abortion and supposedly buried her underneath the floorboards.
Well, don't give it all away.
Well, that's what the case was. We'll get to it. Well, that's right. She's a woman. They like to tell it as they go. Men want to tell you the whole story first and then go back and tell you the story. We're going to give you a sneak preview.
See, I don't get that. Like I said, you're spoiling the ending.
Preview. That's not spoiling.
You're spoiling the ending.
They've all seen this one.
It's
anyway.
like, well, if you already told me the ending, then why do I need to stick around and listen to you?
Because then we're going to go back in detail. We're going to pick through it. Okay.
He's going to tell you that.
Right. Well, you see, the thing is men, when they tell a story, they're going to tell you the end first. And wait, but hold on, how'd that happen? And then you're going to hear how it happened. That's just something the guys do. Every guy in here will tell you. You can't keep a guy's attention. You just start at the beginning. He's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. Wait to the end. Not wait to the end.
Because they all have ADD.
Yeah, no, I don't want to wait to the end.
Well, like I said, you spoiled the ending.
20, that's 20 minutes from now, and the end probably sucks. So you got to get them to end first, and they go, that's a good ending. Well, how'd it happen? That's just every dude I ever fucking knew was like that.
Zach says, also, as we speak, I'm pirating a copy of that old Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner movie, War of the Roses. I actually really, really like that movie. I would like to rewatch it at some point. I think I saw that in the theater, actually.
I don't even remember it.
Oh, it's good. It's like a dark comedy about they're a couple and they're getting divorced. And it's super hilarious. I remember it being really funny, but I haven't seen it for a really long time. So yeah, so this was one of those great classic season 1 episodes. I think it was episode 6. Most of the stuff that I saw said season 1, episode 6. One thing I saw said episode 5, but whatever the fuck. And because sometimes it's confusing, even the Wikipedia page, because Wikipedia has like a list of all the episodes. Like sometimes I don't know if it was because they shot one and then they didn't show it till later, because sometimes the numbering is kind of like messed up. But I think this one is episode 6, like of season 1, and it was like we had it was like the second one on the disc, right? Because we had like the couple discs, whatever. But yeah, like most of the episodes that you guys requested were season 1. I feel like, because I was pulling all of them out last night and looking at like all the ones on the list, and almost all of them were season 1. I've been wanting to do this one because this is one of the first ones that somebody requested when I asked for episodes. So. And I didn't remember which one this was, but that's true of all of them because they have such generic names. So like I said, I don't know. These are not these people's names. Obviously, they gave them pseudonyms, and they just appeared in shadow. So this apparently happened, like I said, in Montreal in 1996. Now, at the very beginning, you have this woman. They're calling her Kelly Fontaine. And she has a daughter that they're calling Haley. I don't remember how old the daughter was. She doesn't factor into it like all that much.
Played by the same actress that did the girl from the show we just did last week.
The daughter wasn't. No,
the week before.
No,
but I was gonna. The same one.
No, it's the same.
You're getting mad at me.
No, because I'm trying to explain to you. It's the same actress as the one we did before, but she's not playing the daughter. She's playing the ghost.
Oh, it's the ghost.
She's the dead girl.
Okay.
She's not like the main family's daughter. That was like a little girl.
Okay. Well, there was one girl that was in this one that's about 20. She wasn't a ghost though.
A girl. Yeah, that was a different.
Yeah, that looked like that same actress.
The actress that was in the one that we did the other day, that played the teenage daughter getting pulled through the thing.
Yeah.
She is in this one, but she's not playing the main family's daughter. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. She was playing the ghost. She's a ghost.
Really?
Yeah, she's dead. Did you miss that whole angle, or?
No, I thought she was the daughter.
No.
It looked like the same girl.
No, it is the same girl.
Yeah, but she's just wearing bell bottoms and fucking jeans and shit.
She was a ghost.
She was a ghost?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
The family, like the woman, Kelly Fontaine, has a daughter already, but that daughter is like 6.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They don't have another kid. Like, she gets pregnant and she has another kid later, but like that woman is in it, that girl is in it, but she plays like a ghost that they contact like later on. She's not their daughter.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's someone's daughter, but not theirs.
Okay, I thought she showed up.
Does that make any sense?
I thought she showed up with the family.
No.
That's just how I remembered it.
No. She's the ghost.
Good.
So Kelly has, I guess she's like a single mom. So she has this daughter. I think the daughter's name is Haley, or at least that's they're calling her on the show. Let me fold this up because it's kind of like a pain in the ass. But yeah. So at the first kind of thing, they show the mom and the daughter, and they're like walking down the street, and she said, "Oh, this one thing that we used to do all the time is we would walk around all these neighborhoods around where we lived, and we would fantasize about." Like pick out our favorite houses, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, that one's so pretty and blah, blah, blah. So they said the weird thing about this was that one house that they would pass all the time was like this really big, like kind of spooky looking house. And that was her and her daughter's favorite. And they were always walking past it and being like, oh, how cool it would be to like live in there and stuff like that. So then Kelly is dating this dude named Al. And a little while later, I guess Al surprises them and says, "Hey, I bought us a house. We're all going to move in together," because they hadn't lived together prior to this.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it was the same exact house that her and her daughter like always walked by and were like, "Yeah, that's the coolest house ever." So he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know, and I bought you guys that house. Like, we're all going to live there now." And you know, they want to like start another family and blah blah blah. So they go into this big house. I don't know what the real house looked like, but like I said, but it was like kind of a big, huge one, like an old one. And so the thing about it is that they move in and they get it repainted and everything like that. And then they're just like, well, Kelly and Al, I guess, want to have a baby, like have another kid. Because I think the daughter, Haley, is just Kelly's. Because I don't think they've been dating that long, it seems like, but I don't know. So pretty much the first thing that happens, like it seemed like before they even really moved in, they said before they moved in, they had painters come in and like fix everything up and stuff. So they were in there like looking at all the paint stuff, and then like they heard footsteps. He said it sounded like somebody walking down the stairs, like very, very clearly, like somebody walking down the stairs. So they go over there, and obviously there's nobody there, so they're just like, huh, that's really weird. That just must be one of those house settling kind of situations. You know how that happens. That sounds exactly like somebody walking to like an invisible person walking down the stairs. But, I mean, at least according to the show, that's what it sounded like. But so they just kind of like wrote it off like, yeah, whatever. It's just an old house, and we have to get used to it, yada, yada. So then they move in. Now, a few weeks later, Kelly is home by herself. And her doctor calls, and she discovers that, you know, hey, she's pregnant. And she's, like, super excited about it. Al's super excited, blah, blah, blah. Now, while she's on the phone with the doctor, or right after she gets off the phone with the doctor, she hears footsteps. And she said that the footsteps, again, sounded like they were in the exact same room as her. Like, she was in the front room, like, folding laundry or some shit. And she said it sounded like somebody kind of like walked into the room, like, and was in the same room with her, but obviously she didn't see anybody. So she was just kind of like, okay, that's pretty creepy, but then kind of like writes it off and pretends nothing happened, right? So then later that night, like, Al comes home and she's like, oh, I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh, yay. And then she's like, oh, and also I heard some like footsteps in the house, so I think the shit might be haunted or something. And he's like, oh, it's probably just the house settling, yada, yada. But then they both hear it, like, at the same time. What is very, very clearly footsteps. Now, here's what's interesting about this episode. Normally what happens in these episodes of Haunting, as you guys are probably familiar with, it's like there'll be a couple of, like, weird little things that happen. Like, oh, a door will be left open, or somebody will hear some weird noises or something like that. And then you'll just keep saying, like, you know, you'll keep coming up for some, like, reason, like, what it is, you know what I mean? Like, some explanation. In this one, pretty much the minute that they both hear the footsteps, Al's like, hey, I have this friend that's a paranormal investigator. Let's call him and see what the fuck's going on. And I was like, wow, that escalated quickly. I mean, literally all they've heard is footsteps at this point. So,
well, no, that kind of makes sense in terms of, I remember when the Math Mountain thing went on, you know, we were in denial for a little while, but, you know, after a while you couldn't deny it. So I can see that, but and the disturbances aren't real; they're just auditory. It sounds like footsteps. Maybe you're going like, sounds like footsteps, but it can't be. And you're like, it sounded like it came into the room, but can't be. Must have been happening, down the basement, or there's an echo, It's happening over there, but it sounds like it's happening there. So I can kind of see that part.
Well, that's the thing. But what I'm saying is that, they hear the footsteps, and then the guy is just kind of like, oh, maybe it was somebody outside that was walking around. Mm-hmm. But then, like, literally the third time they hear it, and actually it's only the second time he's heard it, because he didn't hear it, like, first when his girlfriend was just at home by herself. But literally the second time he hears footsteps, he's like, okay, time to call the paranormal investigators. Yeah. And I'm like, usually the dude, like, doesn't even want to, like, know about it.
Well, he might have been cool. And it probably didn't happen exactly what they showed.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're taking.
I was just saying in a way it was like kind of refreshing, because I do kind of get pissed off by the whole formula of, almost like I feel like 85% of the episodes are, the women and children are always at home, like alone all the time, because for whatever reason, like the wife hardly ever works, and the dude always like works either long hours or works overnight, so they're always like at home like when it's creepy and dark outside. And also they'll start seeing shit for a really long time, and it has to escalate like a lot before like the dude will see it, and he always gets like really cranky like every time they bring it up. So I feel like 85% of the episodes are like that. So it was kind of nice when you see one where the dude is like right away, yeah, there's some paranormal shit going on. Let's do something about that.
Yeah, what it probably was is probably more along the lines of fucking he saw some shit, heard some shit with her, and go, man, it's fucking creepy. He goes, yeah, my friend knows all about this. Let's call him. It's probably more.
That's what I'm saying. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know. It would take, I'm not really sure how much it would take for me to be like calling the paranormal investigators, It would have to be a lot, probably.
Well, I don't know.
Even if I thought it was paranormal, I'd be like, well...
Well, you seen it, you didn't call one?
Well, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Because then you got a third party in your house.
Like, what the hell are they going to do?
What's he going to do?
Just, like, wave some sage around? I can do that.
Yeah, going to drop oil around the outside of your house. Keep the spirits out and shit. Fucking, no, it's... A lot of times it's kind of common, if you research these cases, that the dude goes into denial. He doesn't want to fucking hear it. And then, if you press them, they're like, if you pay attention, they say shit like, or they believe, or they are thinking to themselves, if you pay attention to it, it gets stronger. If you ignore it, it'll go away. So they try to go into denial.
Yeah.
Which, that's a typical male fucking defensive mechanism. Because he can't fucking fight it with his fists,
He's like, well, I'm out of options.
Yeah, I'm out of options. And he can't
I can't punch it, so I'm just gonna pretend it's not.
And in the cases of these, in the cases out of this series, most of these people are fucking strapped for cash, so it's not like he can pick up and move,
Yeah, that's the shitty thing.
So he's trapped there, so he can't fight it, and he can't move, so he just it's not there. Oh, you crazy? Don't pay any attention to it. Pay attention to it to get stronger. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this one, and I think maybe like in light of what happens like later on in the episode where the dude gets like super, super into it, maybe he was just really interested in the paranormal and was like, ooh, neat. You know what I mean? Because he heard it. He's like, maybe it's a ghost. And he's like all excited. I don't know. But like that seemed like
he's more open to it.
He seemed like he was a lot more open, like just hearing footsteps. And he's like, yeah, we're going to call somebody and see like what they say about it. So he had a friend that was paranormal.
I wasn't there. I didn't hear the footsteps, but they convinced him. So
so they must have really been footsteps.
According to the story. It may have not been footsteps at all.
This might be completely fictional from start to finish. Right. I'm really not sure.
There's no way of knowing.
Like I said, now the people that were on there was like the paranormal investigator guy, or one of the medium or whatever guy that they brought in, what was his name? Richard Paul Masano, was that his name?
Remember.
He was on there, like he wasn't in shadow or anything like that. So maybe if you look back through his shit, maybe you can like find,
you can probably find out more about
who these people are. But unless they don't want anybody knowing about it, which I kind of figure they didn't. But he turned up on there. So, but the people themselves didn't. So, So Richard, the guy they call, the paranormal investigator, his idea, he comes there and he says, okay, what I think you should do is every time you leave the house, you turn on a tape recorder, because so far it's just been like auditory stuff, like they've been hearing footsteps and shit like that. So basically what happens is that Richard also says, I think maybe that this spirit or whatever is particularly attracted to Kelly because more stuff happens, I'm assuming, when just she's at home. So next day, Kelly goes out the house and leaves a tape recorder running. Like, she sits it on the staircase or something like that. And she said, I very deliberately, like, went out the door and said, okay, I'm leaving now, and, like, slammed the door. So, and nobody else was in the house. Everybody, like, Al was at work, and the kid was at school, and all that other kind of shit. So she's like, so I knew that anything that happened, like, after that was not me and wasn't anybody else, so it had to be, like, paranormal. So she leaves it. Now, they all come back that night, and they listen to the tape. And this is what I mean when this is like, because you know how a lot of times it'll be like, oh, it was just something that you could still maybe write it off as maybe something natural or you were mishearing it or something. This one seemed like some real like horror movie shit, because they play it back and they said they heard footsteps, then they heard like a jingling kind of sound, like somebody walking with like a charm bracelet on. They said that's what it sounded like. And like a weird voice. They said like it was a really creepy voice that was clearly not human. I don't think at first that they could tell what it was saying, but Kelly said that it was quote unquote awful, and also said that there was kind of like sighing that they thought sounded like I think the word he used was abandonment. Like it sounded like somebody going like they're leaving or something like that. Like it sounded like that. I couldn't tell if it was like multiple voices maybe, but I couldn't really tell like what the voices were. Now, Al or Richard, I can't remember who, one of the dudes, he said that he had met, I guess it was Al, like prior to him buying the house. He said that he had met the former tenants of the house. I don't think they bought this house. I think they were just renting it, because there was a whole thing later like with the owner of the house. So I'm assuming they were just renting. So he said, oh, I knew the previous tenants, and the voice on that tape sounds like the daughter of the woman that used to live here. That's what he said. He said it sounded like her teenage daughter.
That's right.
Who was played by, yeah, see?
Now I remember what it was. That was the barfly chick's daughter. That's
Yeah.
what I remember.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, that voice sounds just like her. And he's like, this is what happened with them. Like, if she was a single mom, like, she had this 15-year-old daughter, and I wrote down, mom was a hoe.
Yeah.
Well, because it was just like, well, I was writing while I was watching the show, and they didn't call her a hoe.
Kinda.
But I just said, well, that'll give me the... Yeah. That'll give me the gist, like in the shortest possible word.
I didn't remember her as a ghost because she's not shown as a ghost, really. She's shown in a flashback.
Right.
So that's how I was going. She wasn't a ghost. She was just regular. Yeah.
She wasn't a ghost. She was just regular.
Yeah. Yeah. I was remembering, but I couldn't quite place that. Man, fuck all this.
I don't know why that was so funny to me.
Yeah. She wasn't a ghost. Because I know how they fucking show ghosts. You know?
Well, she did kind of do some ghosty shit later, like after she like crosses over or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened there, apparently, was that, so they show like a flashback, and the mom, like I said, was a hoe that was just like, leave the 15-year-old daughter, and she was like a drug addict or drunk or something like that, and she was like going around
bar to go
she going out to the bar to like picking up some,
help pay those bills,
jumping on some D, all around town
for the money.
Well, hey, she got to pay the rent somehow.
Yeah, it's trying to.
Don't hate.
Yeah.
So
that's all she got. That's all she had to sell.
I guess so. I mean, this is a pretty big house. I don't know how she could afford it. But anyway, the mom was going to get evicted, right? So I don't know. So one night she goes out, like, you know, bar hopping or whatever, and leaves the 15-year-old daughter at home alone. And the 15-year-old daughter is basically like, yeah, I've had enough of this shit. And she takes a bunch of pills to kill herself. Now, what apparently happened was that after she took all the pills, like, she had a change of heart, and she was like, oh, maybe this killing myself thing isn't like so cool after all. And she called 911, but they said by the time that the ambulance got there, it was already too late. So she had already died. So we're led to believe that this teenage girl is one of the ghosts that's haunting the house. So subsequently, they pretty much start turning tape recorders on like every single time they leave, and they get all kind of voices. One that they got in particular, they said, and of course they didn't like play the real ones on the show because they hardly ever do, but they said there was this one really weird time where there was nobody in the house and they left the tape recorder on, and they said this teenage girl's voice, they said it sounded like she was talking to somebody on the phone, like you could hear her end of the conversation but not the other end of the conversation. I'm like, so a ghost is talking on the phone? Why does a ghost need to talk on the phone?
She's in a dream.
I guess so.
She's reliving the past.
Is she talking to another ghost, or is she talking to another?
She's in purgatory.
I want to know.
No, she's talking to her friend. She's in purgatory.
I want to know. But yeah,
in kind of a dream-like state, out of body, fucking in an in-between, or at least a part of her is something like that. I can imagine it.
Yeah. So they said it basically sounded like one end of a phone call, except it was like a ghost voice. Which would be really weird, you know?
Yeah.
Holy Parish of Doom said nearly every supernatural-themed movie uses the same formula about the male boyfriend, husband, etc. character, always written to be the rational-minded skeptic. Yeah. I kind of feel like 85, 90, 95% of cases they do
I don't think it's written that way. It's just that's the way the stories are told because most people are the same.
Well, I'm talking about, like, horror movie, like fictional horror movies. A lot of them are written like that, too.
Yeah, there's not much variation, you know. You can only do so much in a house. You got to work and, you know. Most people are pretty much the same.
Zach says, I can't punch it, and it has no holes I can put anything in. What do I do now? Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. You can't fight a ghost. My boy tried. From Deltona.
Yeah, sure. This guy kind of tried to. Well, he kind of yelled at the ghost, but you know what I mean? That didn't work out so well. So, yeah, Jake says, why do ghosts that haunt houses always have to be creepy? Why can't we have normal ghosts that greet you when you come home and have normal conversations? See, that's what I've read a couple of books like that, but you don't really see a lot of movies like that. It's like, yeah, why can't you have a ghost that, like, cleans up your shit while you're gone, like, washes your dishes, and that'd be kind of neat.
My poltergeist folded up towels and folded up hand towels and left them out for you. Give you little bars of soap.
See, that's helpful. But
yeah,
that's not a ghost.
It's creepy though.
Well, yeah, it'd be creepy, but after a while, like if they were doing nice things for you all the time, you'd kind of get used to it.
We were like, this must be room service doing this. There was no room service. It just kept leaving that at the foot of the beds, up where you sit. It's just weird.
But I've read a couple, like I said, I've read a couple of books like that where the ghost was like friendly.
Yeah.
Or at least seemed friendly, like at first was like doing stuff for the people.
Yeah, you walk out of a room and then go like 2 steps and then go back into the room and shut the door behind you. And on the back of that doorknob there'd be a fucking hand towel folded up, and you know you just grabbed that doorknob to open it. Fucking weird. You're like, and you look at that thing and you're going like, wait a minute, that's from the bathroom. That would have had to come right through the damn hallway, and I didn't see that passing me. So it just teleported in there. It's fucking creepy, man.
I wish I had a ghost that would fold my laundry.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Well, it wasn't laundry, just, you know.
I know, but I know. I'm just saying that would be really cool. If
you couldn't count on it.
And like, scrubbed out the tub and all that. That'd be fucking awesome. But I want a ghost made. So yeah. So after all this, Al and Richard, like I said, Al, unlike many of the dudes on a haunting show, he's like super jazzed about this, and he's just like, man, I want to find out what the fuck's going on. So him and Richard, his paranormal investigator friend, they set up like all these cameras and shit like up in the upstairs hallway. So Richard is over there, and he brings his wife over to hang out with Kelly, and they're gonna play bridge downstairs while the men's are upstairs investigating ghosts and whatnot. Now, the wife, I don't think they ever named her, actually, the wife of Richard, she goes to put her coat in the closet or something like that, and she opens the closet, and she said it was like a freezing cold, like, blast of air came back. It was like freezing cold in there, like a meat locker. So there was that. So then they're all, like, in the living room, and then they start hearing, like, creaking footsteps and kind of, like, voices upstairs, like, proper for, like, a bunch of people, like, talking. So Richard and Al like go up there because they're like, ooh, maybe we got something on camera, and like they hear all these voices up there. So they go up there, and Richard said it kind of looked like on the show like he got hit by something, like he was like, whoa, and like went against the wall. He said on the show, like the interview with the real guy, he said it felt like something ran through him. Yeah, that's what he said it sounded like, and it sort of like knocked him against the wall. And then they listened to the audio tape back, and they said they heard, and I think this is the first time that they actually heard a male voice, because prior to this, it was usually like the teenage girl's voice they've been hearing. So he says, like, this time they hear an angry male voice that says something like, "I'm gonna get you," or some shit like that. Yeah. And I couldn't tell, like, and I don't think they specified if the ghost was, like, talking to them or if it was maybe talking to another ghost, because there was, like, some shit. Because you know how a lot of episodes of Haunting, too, have, like, one thing where, well, you have, like, all these kind of nice, cool ghosts in here, but then you have this one ghost who's a real dick, and he's, like, kind of, like, controlling the other ghosts and, like, won't let them leave and shit like that. This is a situation like that.
Let me say something.
Okay.
That whole something going through you feeling, we had that at Mammoth, too. Me and Red noticed it, so did Lois. Usually, like when you're in a hallway and there'd be like three of you in the hallway, and it would hit one person, then in the middle one, then the last one. Could you feel it? Yeah. Whatever it was weird. And we'd try to analyze how it felt. You know, like, was it really cold? You know what I mean? If we had a thermometer there, would it fucking show? It didn't really feel like it. It moved through you kind of like a wind, but there was no wind. Whatever it wasn't real sharply defined or delineated, where it was that cold feeling and not, you know, it was like whatever it was just like a zone, maybe about 4 or 5 feet long, and it was kind of smeared and it got to go through you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a sphere going through you or anything, or a round ball or a cube going through you. It was kind of like something, like a comet. That'd be a good way to put it. You know what I mean? It would hit you, and then you could feel it. Kind of like a weird tingling, kind of a cold sensation, but you weren't really sure if it was temperature, if it was fear or electrical stuff, and it would kind of fade like it had a tail on it and it went through you. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's weird. And you're like, did you feel that? Yeah, I felt that. You know, like it went through us. And like, yeah. It's just weird. Weird. It's some kind of damn energy ball.
Zach said, I was at a graveyard during the day one time and had a burst of air rush up on my back. True story.
Well, that was somebody farting, man. You farted.
Maybe ghosts fart. Maybe it was a ghost fart. Yeah, he just said maybe a ghost fart.
No, because
I mean, you know.
We had it happen, and it doesn't blow like a wind. You know what I mean? Like there's no wind or disturbance. It's just something going through space. It's weird. Maybe it's different for other people. Maybe it's more than one phenomenon people are reporting, but the one that we had at Mammoth, it was not wind, per se. It was something moving through space. You could feel it. It was invisible, and it was just going through space. It wasn't displacing anything or pushing air out of the way or anything.
Danny Rolling said, it would be sick if a ghost could join you for a multiplayer online sesh of Halo 3.
Yeah, and it whips your ass.
Well, I would imagine.
With the sniper rifle.
I mean, I would be really, really disappointed if a ghost couldn't whip your ass. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Whips your ass with the shotgun.
Yeah. So they hear this angry male voice, like Richard gets, biffed against the wall or whatever. Then they hear like a whole bunch of footsteps again. And then the closet door, I guess it was the same closet that was like freezing cold inside, it like opens by itself. And this is like downstairs. So like the two women are down there. And at this point, Kelly and Richard's wife are like, fuck this shit. And they're like, we're getting the fuck out of here. So they all leave because they're scared. Now they come back the next day, and the ladies are just kind of like, yeah, you guys go right ahead. We're just going to stay out here in the driveway. Thank you very much. So the men's go inside to like make sure that everything is copacetic. And they don't see anything weird at first, but then they go upstairs, and on the second floor, they said all that was unusual in there was they found, and I know everyone's going to laugh when I say this, was they found on the wooden floor like a bunch of black skid marks. Not those kind of skid marks, but the kind from shoes. They said it looked like somebody wearing black shoes had like run around like they were chasing somebody, which you even said that sounds like kind of a reach. Yeah. And I was like, ghosts don't wear shoes.
Yeah. Well, ghosts don't wear shoes. And how do you know those weren't there before? They didn't mention.
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't mention, if they had inspected that floor before they found those, which I guarantee you they didn't. Disturbance happens. He goes in there and looks around for something. Look, skid marks and shit.
Yeah, and like maybe you didn't even notice it before, and like that could have been.
That's just a reach, man. Ghosts don't have fucking shoes.
Yeah, Jake's and motherfuckers running around the house, scuffing the floors, right? I was just kind of like, yeah.
I can understand the audio apparitions or maybe the sounds of people running around and so you picking up things like that.
Maybe that's what it was.
Things
maybe
falling over and shit. Maybe
that's why he jumped to that conclusion, because they said, well, it's like the sounds we heard, or just hypothetically, sounded like a man chasing someone around, and so then they were like, oh, look, there's evidence of it.
Yeah, like okay, in Mammoth, we'd find spooky shit being moved in one of the back bathrooms up on the fucking ceiling, way up out of reach. None of us could reach it without a ladder. We noticed a fucking greasy handprint up there. And it was also, looks like somebody wiped some hands on the damn curtains. But there's no way of knowing whether the ghost did that or somebody did that in there long ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was creepy looking, but I don't think the ghost did that. I call it the ghost, blowst or whatever. The poltergeist. I don't think it had anything to do with it. It's just that the poltergeist was going on, and we saw that handprint, and it creeped us out. But I don't think that was related to the case. I think it was there before.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're in an environment like that where weird shit's happen, and you're going to notice stuff, and probably some of that stuff doesn't have anything to do with it. But you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, that would be weird if, like, just
a lone handprint up on the ceiling.
Up on the ceiling. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd be thinking about that, too. Like, how the fuck did that happen? You know what I mean?
You'd need a ladder to get it. Well, yeah, somebody maybe did it.
Yeah, maybe they were up there, like hanging some curtains or, like, changing a light bulb or some shit like that, and we're like, whoa! You know what I mean? And they had, like, real fucking dirty-ass greasy hands.
Yeah.
They didn't think about it.
But seeing it, me and Red are like, man, did it touch the ceiling? You know, just because you start leaping to conclusions, you know what I mean? But we just kind of blew that off, and we were like, no, maybe not. Maybe that was already there. We were sound enough of mind to go, that may have already been there, but it was creepy.
Yeah. I don't know why I just thought of this, but when you were talking about like that handprint up on the ceiling, I was thinking about Dan Bell's show, Another Dirty Room, like where they go in the hotel room, and then a lot of times they'll do like the ultraviolet light and everything like that, and you find like all kinds of
spooge marks,
interesting fluids all over. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there, and probably they're doing this too, and I'm just sitting there going, what went on in this room? Like, where was everyone standing? What was happening? It's not just it's not just the spooge marks. Sometimes it's when they when I watched the other day, I was like, oh my God. Sometimes, I don't know why I watch it, because it just makes me want to throw up, like, every time I watch it. But one of the mattresses, dude, I don't know what the fuck happened on that mattress, but it wasn't good.
It was a damn hooker squirt competition.
It wasn't good, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, there was somebody real into scat play or something, that's all I'm saying.
G-spot stimulation.
I mean, I've seen... It was worse than that. I mean, I've seen some of the mattresses on there that I said, now somebody legit got murdered on that shit. But this one looked like...
Yeah, on that program, those are all hooker hotels. Hooker motels.
Well, yeah, it's not fun if they went to like a nice hotel that was clean.
No, yeah,
I mean, the whole point is they're supposed to go and like find, dirty panties and like drug paraphernalia. Look, and blood stains all over the mattresses. That's part of the fun.
Look, do not go to those fucking hotels, dude. Okay? Do not go to those fucking things.
I mean, unless you want every disease.
You're going to bring back, like, fucking... what are those little fucking things that once you get in your house, you're bed bugs.
Yeah. They're pretty careful about that.
Bed bug... yeah, bullshit.
I mean, no. I mean, they are aware of.
It depends. Yeah.
They always check all the mattresses and stuff for bed bug poop and shit like that.
Oh no, those guys do. But
yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, but I'm saying, no, you can go to some of those old fucking flea bitten fucking hooker hotels, and they got fucking bed bugs in there. And just going in there, man, you'll get those in your clothes, and you'll fucking bring them back, and then you got them in your house.
You can't get rid of them.
And once they're in there, man, it's hard to get rid of those things.
It pretty much, yeah. You pretty much gotta burn your whole house down.
Luckily, I never got them. But you know who had those motherfuckers? Fucking my friend Tanya, that fucking little Chanel fucking girl, fine as hell. Fucking, she had those fucking bed bugs. Couldn't get, and it wasn't even in a bed. She had a futon, and it got in there somehow.
It doesn't have to. They could be in a couch. They could be in anything. That sucker,
right?
Or carpet or whatever.
Says, this thing keeps hurting me every now and then, and she goes, I think something got me, and that's how the whole thing started. And I'm looking, and I go, that looks like a mosquito bite. Because I was laying on the bed, and there was something got me, like a needle. And I was fucking doing like this, and I didn't see anything in there. And I'm looking at it, it's just a totally normal mattress. A couple weeks later, she goes, that thing's got bed bugs. She goes, I saw a little black fucking spike come out of the fucking bed and try to get me.
Mm-hmm.
They're alive in there.
Man, drink your blood.
Yeah. She got them from her roommate, though. She didn't go to the hooker hotel. Her roommate had them.
Well, that's the thing. You don't have to go to a hooker hotel.
No.
Even regular hotels have them sometimes. You just got to be really careful.
Yep.
You know what I
You
mean?
had to throw out everything.
That's what I'm saying. You pretty much got to burn your house down and start over. Because you can't get rid of them.
They'll go across the floor and they'll fucking get into the damn couch. And then they're in the couch and waiting for you. And then you say, well, you can spray this and that. Man, they'll go inside the electrical out.
Yeah. They're like, we don't care. We're small. We can fit anywhere.
They can get anywhere. And only one has to survive, and they're laying eggs everywhere. And then they just hatch. They just keep hatching. You can't get rid of them.
That's what I mean.
Yep.
They're bugs, motherfucker.
Fucking terrible.
They've adapted to that kind of stuff. Zach says, how did it happen too where bloody handprints got on the ceiling and semen stains got behind the toilet? Yeah, right. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Like every single one of them.
That's your people, man. It's your people, Zach. You know how them freaky gay people are, man. You never can tell what they're going to do.
One of the grossest things.
Behind the damn toilet.
One of the grossest things that I saw in there, and I don't know
Zach,
why.
how many times have you tried to get behind a toilet? Come on, be honest.
One of the grossest things that I saw in there, like there's some pretty gross shit on there, not gonna lie. One of the grossest things I saw in there was somebody that like smeared a big huge booger on the wall.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I'll probably I kind of want to gag.
Wait for Zach to explain how many times he got behind a toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can do it.
You have to, but
didn't know that?
maybe a bed bug can fit behind the
gay
toilet.
people can get behind the toilet. They fit in there like that. They flatten themselves out.
Like a cockroach.
Like a cockroach. Yeah, man. That's what I heard. That's what I heard, man.
That's what you heard.
I'm gonna have Zach clear it up. I'm gonna have Zach clear it up for him.
Okay.
I gave him all kinds of rope. Let's see if he hangs himself or he comes out and fucking might make a lasso. No tell.
All right. So anyway. Skid marks. That's what distracted us.
Yeah.
Go skid marks.
Get you every time.
Like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, ghosts don't wear shoes, and presumably they don't wear underwear either, so they shouldn't have either kind of skid marks. Now we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So because of the skid marks, Richard, the paranormal investigator guy, he's basically like, okay, well, this ghost teenage girl that's here, the one that committed suicide, we kind of want to like help her cross over or whatever. Maybe that'll solve some of the problems. So then he says, well, I have to find a medium to do that because I guess he has to like contract the shit out because he's not authorized to send ghosts over to the next dimension or whatever the fuck. So he calls up a medium that he knows. So the medium comes over. And they said she kind of goes into a trance and starts talking to the ghost girl. They said it sounded like she was having a conversation with somebody, like a one-sided conversation. But then the medium says, oh, there's like a negative entity that just came in here and tried to get the girl to stay in the house. Like, you can't go to the next dimension. And then I wrote on my notes, ghost fight. Yeah. Like with a bunch of... So I guess like the ghosts are fighting, like the guy doesn't want her to leave, and apparently she kind of maybe does want to leave. I don't really know.
Okay, yeah, Zach came back and says, oh yeah, we were looking for the condom and
the popper stash.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I just sat down the other day, take a dump, fucking look around, saw some eyes fucking popping out. I said, what you doing back there? So I was waiting for you to sit down. That's all.
Ew.
Fucking, yeah. So get back and I'll be done in a minute. He's like, all right. Yeah.
Jake says maybe the ghost has ghost worms and is dragging their ghost butt on the floor. Sorry, that was like a really funny. I just pictured Casper doing that, which like that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right. So the medium starts yelling at the male ghost and tries to get them both to cross over. She's like, look, motherfuckers, you're not supposed to be here. Like, this is Earth and we don't do ghost shit here. So you got to like go to heaven or wherever the fuck. Now, at this point, and this was a little anticlimactic, I felt, apparently the girl ghost, the one that had committed suicide in the house whose mom was a hoe and all that business, apparently she went. Like, she went, whoa, she, like, went off to whatever.
The smell of sanctity.
Yeah, right. Like, the roses and everything.
Yeah.
They didn't say that, but you know what I mean. But so she went over there.
Fucking Ed's like, where are you going? Come back. I could use another teenage girl.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care if you're dead
Get your ass back here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like what this fucking ghost was like, too. It's like, you know what I mean? So the girl goes, she's like, fuck that, I'm out of here. And but the man wants to stay there apparently because he's like, no, I like haunting you people because I'm just the douche in that way. So then the medium also says, oh, there are other ghosts in here too. Like, you know what I mean? It can't just be the one or the two. It's always kind of like a fuck ton. I kind of feel like that happened too, like with the Warrens. They'd come to your house. It can't just be like one demon. It's like, oh, it's all, you got so many fucking demons in here.
We had an army of demons.
Well, because if it's just one and then you get rid of it, then
it's over. You got to leave.
Yeah, there goes your cash cow.
You got a couple more chapters to write.
Exactly. So you really got to like bulk it up.
Yeah.
You got a whole bunch of ghosts in here. But yeah, so she says the guy's staying, the teenage girl left, but there are a bunch of other ones in here conveniently. Now, Kelly at this point, like I said, she's pregnant and she's like, look, all this paranormal, this is very, very stressful. And can we move? And Al basically is like, no, man, no, this is like so cool. And he's just like really curious. And she said he got like super obsessed with finding out about the ghost, like researching the ghost and doing all this other kind of stuff. And like she even said on the show, I don't know if they're still together, but she even said on the show, she's like, I kind of got the feeling that he cared more about like finding out about the ghost than about like me and our baby that was going to be born. Like that we're actually kind of more in like maybe in danger. You know, and he was just like, no, it's cool. Like, you know, it'll be fine. It's just a ghost, blah, blah, blah. They can't do anything. So yeah, she's like, okay, Jesus Christ, I guess we have to stay then because he doesn't want to go. So then they bring in this other guy. Now, this is a third guy, right? John, the clairvoyant. It was he. Yeah. Cause the medium was like a little old lady. So this is another dude who's a clairvoyant. So they're just having all the whole panoply. They didn't call a priest though. I know. Yeah. That's this is the second episode we've done where they didn't call priests. I kind of feel like the earlier... They weren't
Catholic.
The earlier seasons, they didn't call a priest sometimes.
Don't be fucking with them priests unless you're Catholic, all right? And even they won't come. Okay.
There's like, no.
Yeah, because if you go to a Baptist ministers or anything, they're going to go, I don't know. You know, I don't know. Call the Catholics. They know all about that. And then the Catholics won't come. They won't.
Well, now they have said that on a few of the shows. It's like people that didn't belong to a specific church, but were just like calling around because they were desperate. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, we called like pretty much every denomination, and everybody's like, nah, we're not helping you. No. Fuck off. So I'm like, yeah, there's that charity for you. But yeah. So this one they just basically stuck with paranormal investigators. So
you know who would come though?
Who?
Fucking
Scientologists.
No, the Muslims. All you gotta do is fucking you call a mosque. You tell them that there's a jinn in your house, there'll be fucking thousands of them down there.
How come they never do that on any of the shows?
That's because they don't know any better. Okay, they don't know. They've never been to the Middle East. They don't know any Muslims.
I don't think I've seen a single episode.
When I was in Egypt, okay, every time I'd run,
that's actually a good idea.
I'd go down to Dahab or fucking Sharm el Sheikh or something, and you start hanging out with Arabs that speak English. You could just start asking them about fucking jinns or tell them about poltergeist stories, in the context. They love fucking jinn stories, poltergeist stories, ghost stories. Islam's all about that.
Shit. We love all that shit too.
That's all codified into Islam. Okay, so just call a damn mosque and go, I think there's a jinn in this house. They'll be over there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we'll come and get that out for you.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's a good pro tip. And I don't think I've seen a single family on any episode of this.
No, they'd be
think of that.
They'd be down there with damn video cameras and all kinds of shit. Where is it? Oh, it's gonna be a jinn in here today. Yeah, they're gonna try to find it. They love that shit.
Jake says houses are like crack dens for ghosts. There's never just one chilling out. It's always like 12 and none of them want to leave. Right? That's pretty much exactly. So John the clairvoyant comes. Now, he was interviewed on the show, like, for real, right? Because he was talking about... He's one of those pendulum-having motherfuckers, like pendulum-using motherfuckers, where, he has this big, long... Yeah, it's a pendulum thing, like a silver thing, like on a chain. And they're like, and then we hold it over, like, the Ouija board shit or whatever, and then, like, this way for yes and this way for no and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, whichever way your fucking hand moves. But yeah, so he uses a pendulum. Now, he says what he discovers, and this, I alluded to this earlier, but that the asshole ghost is keeping all the other ghosts there. Like, they start talking to one ghost on the thing, but then it kind of stops talking. Like the pendulum just goes boop and like stops moving. So he's like, okay, well there's one dickhole ghost here, and he's like making all the other ones be quiet because he's like telling them all to shut up. So like I don't know what like a ghost could do with another ghost. They can't beat each other up or nothing like that. I don't know. I'm so curious. So yeah. Couple nights after that, John comes back to do some of the pendulum action and wants to like record some EVP shit. So apparently they get some EVPs that are, again, very clear, at least what they showed on and the people said that they were very clear too. Like you could tell that it was several voices and like you could tell exactly what they're saying. And one of the voices was a female voice. They said, he's coming, it's Edward. So Edward is the name of the dickhead ghost, spoiler alert. And then like after that, there was a angry like male voice that said something like, you didn't give him my name, did you? Because I guess that's bad. Like you can't tell living people what your ghost name is, because then they can, I don't know, exorcise you or whatever. So at this point, Richard, the first paranormal investigator guy, he starts researching the house, which I kind of feel like they probably should have done earlier, but whatever. And he says that part of the house, I kind of got the feeling that this house was like, maybe had once been like one big mansion or one big estate that had since been like partitioned out like into apartments or duplexes or something like that. Like they didn't show it like that, but that's kind of like the impression I got the way they were talking about it. So he said that this particular house where they were living back in the 30s and 40s, that this had been the servants' quarters for like a larger mansion elsewhere that was either still there and had been portioned off into apartments or been torn down. I don't really know. But they said this house was where the servants lived. And Edward was the guy who managed the house during World War II, and I wrote, was a massive douche. Because he was just, they said he was one of those motherfuckers that just like, he's real grabby with the women, and he was just like, it's my way or the highway, like smacking everybody around and shit like that. He was one of those, drunk with power motherfuckers. So, yeah, so he just, like, treated everybody like shit, and everybody hated his guts. So that's who they're leading you to assume that that's who the asshole ghost is. So now Kelly is alone in the house again one night. This is happening a lot. She's in the bathroom, brushing her hair or whatever, and the doorknob starts turning by itself, like, even though it's locked, apparently. And then the door, like, flies open by itself, like that. Like, she doesn't see anything at this point, but the door flies open by itself, apparently.
It kind of reminded me of something that happened at Mammoth. Me and Lois in Red Room, one of those rooms, one of the times when the door was shut, and we were looking at that doorknob from the inside, and we were thinking that it might have been slowly turning, but it was hard to tell. It was perfectly round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, one of those kind of like real round.
It was
like
totally
that.
round, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was all geometrical, so if it was turning, you weren't quite sure. We're like, is that moving? And remember, we were looking at it. We were like, that might be moving. It looked like it was. It's hard to say, though. It was weird. The knobs underneath the television that controlled the tint and everything were doing that, too. It looks like they were moving slightly, and you could see the colors changing on the damn fucking screen. That was weird, too. Yeah. Like the tint and the color and the fucking contrast knobs. They were just round semicircles poking out through the bottom, and they had the little fine teeth in them, and it looked like those little teeth were moving, but you could definitely see the distortion on the screen. It was weird. It's happening while we were trying to watch television.
Ghosts didn't want to watch what you guys were watching.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck this, change it. I'm going to fuck it up.
I had to walk off from it. I was like, I don't want to look at that anymore.
Well, hello there, Julianne Pope. I found this podcast looking for cute cat videos and somehow came across the Pookie videos.
Oh, man.
I forgot to put up like Pookie videos this week. Well, the thing about it is like when I get up and I'm like, oh, I should do some film of her, but then like usually by the time I get ready to like film her, she's like, fuck you, I'm sleeping.
But you also said that you didn't finish what she said.
Well, yeah, that okay. I know. I was like, I was saying the Pookie videos, and discovered that you did recaps of a haunting, which I love. Oh, yeah. We just recently started because when we first started the show, like back in 2016 or whatever, we did a lot of episodes about about a haunting, like we were talking about the episodes. But then we kind of got away from doing it as we went off in a million other directions and did a million other things. So like a few weeks ago, we decided, hey, let's start doing that again. So
like a new show.
So we just started doing like live streaming it on Monday.
Yeah.
So we always watch one on Sunday night and then like talk about it on Monday. So, and kind of fuck around. Sometimes we talk about if I can find anything about the real actual case, and we kind of compare and contrast. This case in particular, which is Darkness Follows, they didn't use their real names, and they were in shadow the whole time, so I couldn't really find anything like on the real case if it really happened. But we're just kind of like clowning on the show.
And outside the show, too.
And outside the show. Yeah. You know what I mean.
Just having fun with it.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing. You just gotta.
That's what I'm saying.
Just gotta roll with this one because there's not enough to go on.
Plop Frog said the ghosts wanted to watch a haunting.
Yeah.
That's why they were fucking with the TV.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to watch.
No, it was long before.
I want to watch Paranormal Witness. Turn it over.
That was long before that.
Or I want to watch. What's the one with fucking Zach Baggins on it? Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
He does Ghost Hunters, right?
I don't know. I don't want to. I only know the fucking two for the most part. We got to get see if we can buy the newer seasons of The Haunting, the ones we don't have.
Like I said, some of them I think are available on Tubi or Pluto.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out and see if there's anything new.
But we'll see if there's anything on there. I haven't really checked because, like I said, we have like the first 7 seasons on DVD, so
there's
we just
plenty
don't
of
watch
material. But I
those.
wouldn't mind seeing new ones and see what they're.
Yeah,
like
I kind of want to see the new ones too.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think I mentioned this earlier, but Kelly said that Al seemed obsessed with wanting to find out what's going on in the house, like about the ghosts, and all she wanted to do was get the fuck out because it was like really scary. You know, she had another little daughter, she had a baby on the way, and she's like, hey, this shit is like not funny anymore, like let's get out of here, but he didn't want to. Now, another thing that Al started doing was that every time he heard a weird noise, like footsteps or voices or something, he would like start taking pictures, like wherever the sound seemed to be coming from. And they showed the pictures to the paranormal investigator guy and shit like that. And he said that there were 2 pictures, I think, that were like fucked up looking. And he said that they had like faces in them. And he said they were very, very clear faces. We said they were baby faces, right? Baby faces. And he said there was like
infants.
Like, baby infants.
You know what I mean?
They're
like newborns and shit.
Yeah. And he said there was like a lot of blood and stuff. I believe someone used the phrase spiritual orphanage. I wrote it down on there. So that's maybe, I think the paranormal investigator guy said that. So then later on, Haley, who is Kelly's daughter, who, like I said, she was maybe, she was 5 or 6 maybe. So she goes down one night to get a drink out the kitchen. And while she's down there, apparently she sees an apparition. Like, she sees a dude, like, walking past the fucking doorway. Now, she thinks it's Al at first, but it wasn't Al. But she freaks out and, like, runs back up to the room, and she's like, I just saw a dude downstairs. And Al's like, well, hey, it wasn't me. She's like, I thought it was you. And it's like, holy shit, it's a ghost. Now, the next morning, Kelly's vacuuming in the upstairs hallway, and the ghost, because he's a douche, unplugs the vacuum cleaner. Like, it comes unplugged by itself. And then she turns around and sees the ghost, like the dude, like at the end of the hall. So she said she actually saw the apparition, like standing in the hall. So she's wigging out. She goes in her bedroom and like locks herself in. And then she calls Al and says, hey, I just saw the shit. Come home right now. And so basically at this point, she's like really mad because she's like, look, I just want to move out. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm seeing the dude now and I don't like it. And Al's just like, but we have to stay. It's like so cool, yada, yada. And he's like, okay, well, I tell you what, we'll stay, but we'll only do research outside of the house, which I'm like, I'm not sure if that's going to help, but okay. That's kind of the thing because I don't know. I kind of feel like she got really upset because it's like she said it seemed like that's all he wanted to talk about too. It's just like, hey, I went down to the research and I found like about all this other stuff about this dude that got killed at this house. And she's like, will you fucking shut the fuck up about that? She's like, is it bad enough that I have to be here all the time with this fucking ghost creeping around, like unplugging my vacuum cleaner or whatnot?
I hate it when that shit happens. Got work to do.
I know, right? I'm like, shit. Jesus Christ. So she was just seemed like she was getting mad and he was just kind of like, okay, well, whatever. But we'll only do like research like outside the house. We won't like set up cameras and shit in here anymore because it's upsetting her.
Please do us a favor and hit that like button, people. That'd help us out.
It really does help a lot.
Super chats are active. If y'all want to pay Jenny and give her a tip for today's work, we very much appreciate that. We got to pay bills up in this motherfucker. Spent $3,000 on a ride on a lawnmower, and I still haven't ramped it over the pool yet. Still haven't done it. I will eventually though. Once I get the pool built.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta build a pool. Once I'm gonna build a pool, and then I'll ramp the riding lawnmower.
I'm gonna ramp it over the pool with a Jack Daniels in my hand.
Okay. A whole bottle?
On video. No, just a fucking glass.
It'd be funnier if it was like the whole bottle.
All right, yeah, okay.
I'm going for the optics here.
Okay.
So yeah. Then he finds out, and this is what gave me the idea that maybe the house was like part of like a larger house that had been partitioned out. Because Al says that he finds out that that there was a guy who lived in an apartment next door, which was kind of maybe part of the same building, I'm led to believe, that had maybe seen some shit too, like had also seen the apparition, and had moved out after part of his floor collapsed. So apparently, like, the next door person, so the ghost is like popping all over like the fucking place, like the next door neighbors and all this other kind of stuff. So they decide
the ghost has a large area of effect.
Sure.
It's been reported before. This is
they probably get bored in one area. I'd imagine.
This
little change of scenery.
This is fitting in what was to be described as a haunting. Okay, apparitions, audio phenomenon, feelings of being watched, cold spots. So far, nothing's moved yet, but that's minor movement can still be haunting. But so far, minor haunting. Not real powerful. We'll see. Keep going.
Although, like I said, if the shit happened the way that they said it did, which I kind of doubt, then they got like some of the clearest EVPs and ghost photos.
They did not show the
but
EVPs.
They did not show them, so I'm kind of skeptical.
Okay.
I'm skeptical.
Where is the evidence?
That's what I'm saying. If it was that good, then they would have showed it on the show. Like, look, ghosts exist.
Every now and then they will show a real piece of evidence on the haunting, but mostly they fake the evidence. So they say, and the photos, and then they show a picture of a doctored photo because the real photo isn't impressive enough. The series that'll show you the real evidence would be Paranormal Witness. That'll show you what they have.
And they're usually not that good.
They're usually not that good.
Which is why a haunting doesn't do it.
Yeah, it's not that they're not that good. It's just that it's not conclusive.
That's what I mean. It doesn't prove
Particles
anything.
of dust in the flash. Orb. No. Particle of dust in the flash.
Yeah, like 99% of them are just like orbs. I'm like, yeah, that's like a dust or that's a
dust
bug.
Particle in flash.
Come on. Or it's like a bug flying in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've had that.
And then
happen.
fucking amorphous form. No, cigarette smoke from the cigarette in your hand when you take a picture.
And you also have to... Thank you, Black Frog. I've got a Haunting Season 8 and 9. If you'd like copies, I could send them. Ooh, that'd be awesome, actually.
I think we...
no, we just have 1 through 7.
1 through 7? He's got 8 and 9. Well, hold on one second. Because if he does, I wouldn't mind buying that physical medium, you know what I mean? Because, I don't really like the fucking copy. I like to have the real thing. But the last I checked, and this was years back, those weren't available on DVD. If they're available on DVD now, I'll buy them.
I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, so just drop in the comment section if that's available on DVD. I'll just buy them.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Jake says, bit of aside, I'm looking at that awesome poster of Nosferatu in the background. Love how it's lit. Thank you. I love that poster. That's like one of my favorite ones.
It's actually lit darker in real life than it looks on the screen.
But can you imagine your house being haunted by Klaus Kinski? I'd have to move.
You motherfucker was a perv, man.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
with my luck, every time I got a haunting, you'd be like a fucking perverted
incestuous pedo motherfucker.
Yeah, he's creepy as shit. Zach says,
leave your daughter alone.
You got, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't have to be said, but
yeah, leave your fucking daughter alone.
Zach said, you guys should go stay at a haunted hotel and do a live stream. You know what? I've thought about doing that because we've been asked to do that a couple times, like to go stay at like a haunted location and like live stream.
If I was gonna do some shit like that, I'd go back to Mammoth Mountain.
We have thought about that.
I know that.
But man, that's like, it's so far though, California.
Yeah,
like,
and that prices are fucking outrageous.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it'd be cool if we could do, because we did a whole show. There's like a whole bunch of haunted places in like St. Augustine and stuff like that, which is only like an hour from here. But it might be cool to do something like that.
I know if I get back to Mammoth, I know just psychologically this shit would kick off. If anybody wants to finance that trip, just me, you, Jen, and maybe another witness or something, and you want to pay for it, I got Lois is still alive, and she'll remember exactly where that fucking, because she was older than I was at the time. She'll remember exactly.
Does anybody own it now?
No, last I heard it was for sale. We checked a couple years back. It was for sale, and I was looking at the interior.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's bought it. at this point. We found it on Zillow like a year or two ago, but somebody might have bought it since
No one's
then.
ever lived in that. It was always bought and sold by companies or individuals.
It's like not like a timeshare, but
it was just
when you stayed there, like the company owned it, and then they let people, like employees, like stay there for like a week at a time, like for a vacation.
It was owned by Conoco Oil. That's who owned it, and they gave it out to executives for use as like a reward. And my mom got dibs on it, but she didn't want to go, so she let her sister go, and I went with her. And that's what happened. And it was for the Christmas season. And she was like, "You'll be away for Christmas, but you have fun down there. You don't have to go." I said, "Oh, no, I want to go there for Christmas." And I went there for Christmas. I'm not sure we actually had a Christmas ceremony, though. It might have been a little bit before Christmas, or maybe it was Christmas. I don't remember. I think, yeah, it was Christmas, wasn't it? And fucking, because I don't think we did the gift shit. I think we did all that before we went. Like opening presents and stuff. Kind of like Christmas had already happened that year.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. But I know that I can get ramped up and have that shit happen again, because it happens here every now and then, but it takes about a month for it to start firing up. But over there, especially if fucking Lois was with me, too bad Red's dead. If Red was with me, that shit would kick off quick. Me, Red, Wesley, and Lois. It'd go back to the way it was, I think. It'd start moving stuff. Throwing things. It was fucking weird, man.
Black Frog said about seasons 8 and 9. It said, I downloaded them. I don't blame you. Physical media is way better.
Yeah.
Get Pookie a snack with the tip. Okay, we will.
Okay.
We'll get her some.
Yeah,
more.
they were available.
We'll get her some more meat sticks. That's her.
They
favorite.
were available
The
for
Sheba meat
download.
sticks.
But I don't know if. I know that they were available for download, but I don't know if they ever sold them as a package, because I'd like a package to go along.
I don't think they do anymore, just because it's
with
not.
The fucking set that it's not as good a series as it used to be.
Well, there's not the demand, I guess, for it. Like I said, the first 4 seasons were in a box set because I bought you that, and then I think 5, 6, and 7 I bought individually. But
and it was a whole season on one disc.
Yeah, after that they didn't sell them anymore.
Right.
So they go into. They said they go into the basement. I don't think this was the basement of the house they were staying in, but I think it was another part of the house that had been portioned off into another house, but that was the same owner. You know what I mean? I was led to believe that this is where the guy who had seen the apparition of the dude and then had moved out, like in this other apartment, I was of the impression that this was that guy's apartment. And because Al went to the owner and talked to him and nobody was living in there, he said, okay, why don't you go in there and see what you can see? So they go over there, I think. I don't know if that's correct or not. But so they're in the basement, and they make this little Ouija board, and the dude's got his pendulum or whatever. Now, what?
He said it's on Amazon Prime, but I guess he meant that you can buy DVDs on Amazon Prime. I think that's what he's talking about. He can clarify.
Well, no, I mean, Amazon Prime, that means you can rent it, I imagine.
Yeah, or Amazon Prime also sells DVDs, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you're talking about buying DVDs, you would just say you can buy it on Amazon. Right. You wouldn't say Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Amazon Prime, that's usually. I mean, I assume they're talking Prime Video, that you rent it.
All right.
So they're doing the Ouija board, and apparently a 19-year-old girl named Angela answers them. She says that she died in 1943, and when they asked her how she died, she spelled out. They said she spelled out bleed. And then spelled out my baby. So, abortion. Yeah. So she says about a doctor that was called the Butcher. Now, Al goes and finds a history professor in the area, and she said, oh yeah, there was a guy who was an abortionist then, and this was back when abortion was, illegal. And so that a very famous abortionist had lived in the house. He fled the U.S. in the 40s, but Edward, the asshole ghost from the others that everybody's been seeing, worked with him or took over his practice or something like that. I was not real clear on that. So they find out all that stuff, and Al very wisely chooses not to tell his wife about it. But she's kind of they're in the bedroom, Al and Kelly are in the bedroom, and a crucifix flies off the nightstand and breaks in the bedroom while Al is kind of telling Kelly about some of the ghost shit.
That's one of the few times that something moved.
Yeah, I think there was only 2 times. So the crucifix flies off and breaks. You know, and Kelly's just like, fuck this. Like, can we please get the fuck out of here? At this point, Al, like, confronts the ghost, like, hey, come out and face me, blah, 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 like, trying to be a man and all that. But nothing happens. Now, at this point, Kelly goes into labor. And she has a little girl who they said was named Charity, but I'm sure that's not the kid's real name. Now, the guys go down to the basement and use the Ouija board to talk to Angela again. And they ask her, well, you know, she said, I guess she's assuming, like, you know, that she got murdered. And they're like, well, where is your body? Now, the pendulum guy says at this point when they asked, the pendulum stood straight out. I'm assuming they mean horizontally, which would indeed be quite something if that really did happen.
Yeah.
He said it stood straight out, like, I'm assuming, like, pointing toward where the body was.
He said some funny shit.
What did he say?
He said that thing would fly around, and it got to the point where I had to hold on to it, or it would fly out. You always got to hold on to a damn pendulum.
Well, yeah, otherwise it'll just go.
Yeah, it'll fall on the ground.
Because gravity.
I had to hold on to it. Yeah, I'd have to hold on to it too. Yeah.
You got to hold it.
So yeah, you got to hold it. Yeah,
you got to hold it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So apparently the pendulum stands straight out. So they're like, okay, well maybe that's where the body is. So apparently what happened, and I'm guessing they determined this from talking to Angela on the Ouija board thing. It wasn't even, they didn't even have a real Ouija board. They just like they wrote letters on a bunch of scraps of paper and put them in like a, you know, a semicircle, and then they had the pendulum like kind of swinging. Which, like I said, that seems pretty rife for shenanigans, but you know what I mean. So she says apparently that Edward and the doctor fucked the abortion up. And they were like, well, she looks like she's pretty much dying, but she's not quite dead yet. So they dug a hole in the cellar, and I thought they were gonna bury her alive. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, that's fucking cold-blooded. But at least they had the decency to like throw rocks on top of her to kill her first before they buried her. So, you know, that was nice.
Well, they kind of didn't say that in the movie.
No, I'm just saying. I'm
they
extrapolating.
Just showed him throwing rocks on her, and then fucking the investigators.
Close enough.
Yeah, they threw rocks on her to make sure she was dead. Didn't necessarily mean that she was alive, but they kind of made it seem like they killed her.
Yeah, well, because the actress was like laying there, kind of like she was clearly still alive.
But this goes back to a haunting.
That's what I mean. We don't know. We
liberties
don't know.
A lot with imagery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their whole job is to make a good episode.
Yeah, they're not really worried about like if it's
not worried about
close to
accuracy.
reality or not.
And this is a good episode.
It is, yeah.
It's an interesting case, but I also know based on the haunting, we're not getting everything. They're just telling us what they want us to know.
They're just telling you the good shit,
yeah,
the scary
just the
shit.
good shit.
And like I said, probably exaggerating.
And they're probably leaving stuff out too.
Yeah, and we talked about this on the last show. Where
like
sometimes
Summerwind.
I think they leave stuff out if it's not like in service to their narrative, because they're trying to make it, like you said, they're trying to make it an entertaining show. Yeah. So they're trying to make it more like a movie, like a 3-act structure type thing. When in real life, it probably does. Like things don't happen like that.
Like Haunting of Summerwind was mystifying to me. I love that case until I eventually tracked down what Summerwind actually looked like, and explained a lot. Summerwind was a fucking dump. You know what I mean? That's why people didn't want to work on it. It wasn't worth anything.
Yeah. But yeah, so we don't know if she was actually dead when they buried her, or we don't know. So they're like, okay, well, he asked the owner, apparently. They're like, well, hey, can we dig out the floor in the basement there? And the owner is just kind of like, sure, I was going to replace the floor anyway. So have at it. So they go, I don't know if they told him like why they were digging the floor out. Hey, we're looking for a body. But so they start digging the floor out, and they said that all they found the first day was a flagstone like the ones that were used to make the fireplace. So they're like, oh, maybe this is one of the stones that was dropped on the girl, you know what I mean? But oh gosh, it's the end of the day and we're all tired. We can't finish the digging job this evening. And then, conveniently, the next day they come back, and the owner has brought in a crew to pour new concrete in the floor. And I was like, again, that seems a little convenient.
Yeah.
Because you would think that, look, if you're looking for a body, I would think that you would tell the owner, hey, we're looking for a body. Give us a couple days at least, like, to come up with some shit. Whereas, the owner's just like, no, it's like, whoa, thanks for tearing out the floor. I just came in and they've already poured concrete. Bye.
Well,
you know what I mean?
the way I interpreted it is that the owner fucking was afraid that a body was really there.
And he's just like, well, yeah, it could have been that too. Up. Yeah, no, I don't want to get involved in that shit.
Right, yeah, because then they'll be in here for fucking months.
Right.
So I think that's how I interpreted the story. Which there could be something.
Yeah, because then he's like, well, man, I don't want my house to be a crime scene, from some shit like back in the 1940s.
This and that, man, fuck that shit. So that could go either way.
It could have been that. I mean, if it did happen like that, that makes a lot more sense than like them just coincidentally like going.
What kind of didn't make sense about that part of it is that they dig down, they find the flagstones, and they say, we got to go get some heavier equipment tomorrow to pick these flagstones up. They didn't dig that far. Flagstones don't weigh much.
That's what I mean. It's like, be a man. You can move that shit.
Man the fuck up.
Just pry the shit out with a crowbar or something.
You're strong enough to jerk your dick. You're not strong enough to fucking jerk out that fucking piece of stone. Only weighs about 30
they were
pounds.
Probably just like, they were just like flat, like
15-pound stones? What are you fucking talking about?
It's like, I could move that shit. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, don't be a weird.
Yeah. Tell him, Zach.
You're looking for a body.
Tell him, Zach.
You're looking for a body.
Tell him, Zach. Tell him what a real man can do.
And apparently they were like, oh, they felt really bad because they were like, well, we wanted to, send her to her, like, we wanted to find her body and blah, blah, blah.
You're right.
So, yeah, I was like, okay. But like you said, it could have just been that the owner was like, what if they really do find a body?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
That's how
like I said, then it's going to be a crime scene and then I can't rent it out and then I'm out of money.
Right, and then,
I don't want
nobody's
going
to want to live here because there's dead bodies.
Because there's a dead body under the floor.
That's how I interpreted it.
So, yeah.
Get them guys in here quick. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're done with that. We're done.
No, we're just like, we don't care.
Thank you for tearing up my floor. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. So the last thing that happened was Kelly was upstairs and she was getting ready to give the new baby a bath. And then, meanwhile, Richard, the paranormal investigator guy, he has like some spidey sense type stuff that happens. That he senses that the ghost is mad because they've been looking for Angela's body and will take revenge on the baby, like the living baby that Kelly just had. So he's like, oh shit, like your baby's in danger. And apparently at the same time that this happened, like Kelly is in the room and a bottle. It didn't look like, I mean, in the show, it just looked like one of those Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo bottles. I think it kind of looked like that. It wasn't a glass bottle or nothing. It just looked like a plastic bottle. So this bottle like comes fucking flying across the room and almost hits the baby. And Kelly at this point she is no longer having it. And she says to Al, like, he comes up here and she's like, that fucking bottle just flew across the room and almost hit the baby. She's like, I don't give a shit if you're coming or not. I don't, I'm done with this ghost shit and I'm just leaving without you, unless you want to come with me. So then finally, he's like, okay, fine, we'll move. And she's like, Jesus Christ, at last. But they interviewed him, and at the end he said, if somebody told me like that I could still go back there and like dig up that floor and see if that body was there, I absolutely would. So he's obviously still obsessed with, or was as of when this show came out, which was, when was the first season? 2005, 2006, something like that.
Something like that.
So yeah, so I don't know, like
New Dominion Pictures, New Dominion, I think is what it was called. That was the company that owned it.
Yeah, well the logo that you see at the beginning is called like Timeline Media or something like that.
Name like New Dominion makes you think it was some kind of a Christian company.
It sounds Christian-y.
It sounds Christian-y. And a lot of the stuff was Christian-y kind of.
But I think like this was season 1.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was the same. I mean, I could totally be wrong. I'd have to like look through the production history of this. But it seemed like the earlier episodes were not as religious-y. Like sometimes if the family was religious, they'd be like, yeah, we called a priest and stuff like that. But there was a bunch of episodes where it wasn't really, like religion wasn't really like brought into it.
It started with New Dominion. I think they were I think it's Christian. I think it is. But I think they were trying to stay close. I think they were stayed with the story. It did have. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It was great. It's just maybe it's just a name. But then later on, it did seem to be more churchy, but
it did seem to go in a more. I mean, maybe that was just my perception, but I just kind of feel. I kind of feel like the original ones weren't as churchy. Like, I felt like when we were watching the later ones,
they felt a little bit more.
Every single one was like a demon, and we had to like bring in everybody's praying at the end and shit like that. Where it's like the early ones, like sometimes that happened, but not usually. Like usually, like it was this one where it's just they were just calling in like a paranormal investigator, and nobody mentioned anything about anything.
I think it was the same company through the first, that first big stack that we had.
Yeah.
The first set, I think it's the same company. But
yeah, I think so too.
That's just how they did it. They were good stories.
Yeah. Black Frog said, have you two ever heard of Patrick McNee's Ghost Stories? I have not. It was made in 1997. Pretty cool series. I'm going to write that down, though, because that sounds like right up my alley, matter of fact. Where'd the pen go? Oh, here it is. I had a pen.
Yeah, Black Frog says that they're only available digitally on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I don't even think they bother because, like I said, there's probably not like a demand anymore. Yeah. I mean, there's not a demand for DVDs in general as much as there used to be.
I love to have physical medium, though.
I know, I usually do too. Yeah. Not so much with movies. Like if it's a movie I really, really like and I know I'm gonna like watch over and over again, then y'all buy it. But I'm more like that with books. I really like to have like the physical book so I can read it again. I will read ebooks. I'm not like averse, but if it's a book I really like, then I usually like to buy it. Like I like to have it,
Yeah.
All right, so
yeah, I guess that's about it.
That was all that happened on that episode. Okay. And like I said, I couldn't find anything else about it really because it wasn't like their real names or nothing like that. But like I said, this one seemed a lot less. It was no demonic shit, which was nice. No. And it wasn't real poltergeisty.
I'll tell you what, you got the list for the other ones that we have to do?
Okay, so the other ones are, so that was Darkness Follows, right? Yeah. The other ones are Where Evil Lurks.
Yeah.
Legend Trippers.
Okay.
Fear House.
Okay.
The Presence.
Okay.
And one other one.
All right, let's tell them because some people were complaining that they didn't know which one it was. They would like to watch it before. Well, let's do Fear House.
We're gonna do Fear House next Monday.
Fear House. So you guys can watch that one.
Yeah, because we didn't know either. We just kind of like decided.
And after that, we'll do Legend Trippers. That's a fucking request from a subscriber who actually knows somebody who was involved in that case. We'll do Fear House or Legend Trippers after that.
Yeah. Ramon says, Wikipedia says New Dominion produced a haunting from the first season onwards. That's right. Yeah, and he said maybe the writers' production staff of the later seasons got more churchy. Maybe that's what it was. Like maybe
it sold more.
Maybe that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, and either that or like they had new writers or they had like new manager or whatever the fuck. Like they had like a new production team. I don't know.
In those days, I would think ghost stuff would sell real well to a religious audience. So you'd want to move religious cases with religious aspects to the forefront. Plus, it's also kind of like The Exorcist and Amityville Horror and a lot of the horror classics. So it gives that vibe, where you're not really answering questions, you're just fucking adding to mystery. All right?
Yeah.
Because most people watch these as like a form of horror movie, really.
That's why I watch them.
Yeah, that's what I watch them for. They were like horror movies that you could kind of suspend your disbelief because it was supposedly based on something that really happened. You could pick through it, like maybe some of this shit did happen. Which I'm pretty sure a lot of this did happen. I think a lot of these cases were based in something. Whether or not they exaggerated, yeah, probably. And they left stuff out that was not in service to the case, too, because we could research and find out that there's more. That there's more details, and the details sometimes demystify a lot of the shit, a lot of the issues you'd have with watching the episode. The example I use, everybody knows The Haunting of Summerwind. Part of the fucking mystery of The Haunting of Summerwind is why would somebody fucking not want to come and help fix this beautiful fucking ancient mansion? Fucking the witnesses are like, yeah, nobody would come work on the house. Like, the old haunted house. Oh, no, we're not going to work on that house. Till you see pictures of what it looked like back then. It was a dump. So contractors were like, oh, you don't want to put money in that. I don't want to be involved in that. You can't rebuild that. That's got to be torn down. That's what was happening. That house should have been condemned. That wood didn't even look treated.
I'm like surprised that it wasn't actually.
Yeah.
Like after I saw photos of it,
Yeah,
I was like,
it
holy shit.
looked like a haunted house because it just wasn't built right.
Like I said, it looked like it was made of wood. It was giant, but it looked like it was made of wood.
It looked like it was made of untreated or poorly treated wood.
Yeah, it looked like it was made of wood that termites had eaten.
Yeah, and it was warping and fucking all the paint was coming off of it, and they were like, "Man, that's got to be demolished. You can't just paint that." And they were living in it. We're burning all the furniture. The ghosts are so bad in there. You could burn that whole house down if you wanted to. It wouldn't matter, you know. That house was a dump. And it burned down eventually. They said, well, lightning struck it on a fateful night. I said, no. The neighbors went down there and burned that shit down because the kids are hanging out. Yeah.
I think the neighbors burned it down. They just don't want to say that on the show, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Neighbors got sick of that shit. Burn that fucker down.
It's like, look at that eyesore.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it probably looks really cool like back in the old days. But
back in the 30s.
It never got taken care of. It never got taken care of.
Yeah.
David June only just now got here.
David, you want to show up now, man?
Says, hey, people, holy shit, we've been on for like an hour and a half already.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've been on like for fucking twice as long as the actual episode. I think the episodes are what, like 45 minutes or 48 minutes or something like that. We've been on for like an hour.
Stretching this shit out. Making super chats.
Well, because we were like making jokes about it.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun. It's like if you just wanted to like watch the episode, then just watch the episode.
You could sit around and listen to fucking doomsayers and bad news that's coming about all the bad shit that's happening, or you could escape from it over here. Talk about ghosts.
Yeah, that's
ghosts and true crime and shit.
Yeah, I mean, true crime's still like pretty grim, but you know what I mean. It's still kind of entertaining.
I got 2 followers on my fucking Twitch channel. I was gonna play fucking Legend.
Wow, 2 whole ones.
Got 2 of them. You can find me on Twitch. It's Tom 13 o'clock. No, all lowercase, no apostrophes. Tom 13 o'clock on Twitch. Once I get my headset set up, I gotta buy a headset
so you can hear him swearing and stuff.
So I can talk. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna start streaming classic Tomb Raider. I'm gonna start off with Legend, and then we'll do Anniversary, and then I'll do fucking Underworld, 90s shit. Back when Lara Croft character was cute. Running around with them long legs, fucking kicking shit with the guns. Fucking. Now she just looks like any old woman. She looks like a mortal woman now. I liked her when she looked like a damn video game character.
With her big old boobies bouncing up.
She had big boobs, they bounced, and long skinny legs, and she was fucking.
She had big boobs, they bounced.
They bounced. Yeah. Big old eyes. And she was the female James Bond. Rich girl who turned her back on that life. And went off to fucking do criminal enterprises.
I want to go do adventure.
Stealing fucking ancient relics and fucking killing criminals that were trying to steal them before her. Yeah, it's a good. And then having paranormal experiences.
I mean, that sounds like the life.
It's
for
fun,
sure.
yeah. The rich girl. She could do whatever they want. Had nice toys and everything. She basically like James Bond without the responsibility.
James Bond / Indiana Jones.
Yes, James Bond.
Like with all the best stuff of both and none of the bad stuff.
No.
Like you said, she didn't have to work for anybody.
Nope.
She could just
she had all the money.
She had all the money, and she could just be like, "Well, fuck it, I'm just gonna go to
fuck it. I'm going to Peru, and I'm gonna go down an old tomb, and I'm gonna fucking fight some gangsters."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how Lara Croft do.
Yep.
But so tonight we'll watch a movie. We don't know which one yet. That we'll talk about tomorrow.
Good.
So we don't know what movie we're gonna do. We never know. And Wednesday, the main show. If you didn't, what?
David June followed me on Twitch. Okay, thank you.
If you got real into the ghost shit today, we're doing even more ghost shit on Wednesday.
Good.
Haunted bars and pubs.
Okay.
That was what won on the thing. Somebody recommended it last week, so I put it in the poll, and that handily won. So there's so many. Like, I already started like looking like for all the research and everything, and it was like, oh my god, how am I gonna like winnow this down? But I'm gonna try to keep it to like a reasonable number. But there's a lot, so I'm gonna try and kind of just pick the most interesting ones. But it'll be a fun show, I feel like. So I don't know. So come by tomorrow. I don't know what movie we're gonna do, but we'll figure it out. Maybe Godfather 2. I don't know.
Oh, we're gonna watch it tonight.
Yeah, whatever movie we're watching tonight, we got to talk about.
It can't be a long movie. Look how late it is.
Oh yeah, shit. Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll have to pick something shorter.
Yeah.
That always happens. It's like
Yeah.
we did the first Godfather, and I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, shit, we have to do 2 and 3 because we got sent the whole trilogy.
We gotta do
but it just seems like every time like it's time to like settle down and watch a movie. It's already so late that I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna fall asleep.
It's so short. It's,
like if we try to like watch a 2.5 hour movie, I'm gonna like fall asleep before it's over.
What we could do is do a bonus haunting and watch Fear House, and do Fear House tomorrow. That's one idea.
Yeah, that might be a better idea.
Because it's
now I'm gonna have to make a whole new introduction, like a Haunting Tuesdays.
No, it'll just be a bonus one because that's only 45 minutes.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And it's easy.
That's true.
See?
Maybe we should just
Because
do
it
that.
ran light. We'll just do Fear House.
All right.
Would you guys want to hear Fear House tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe we can do that instead of another movie.
Right. Because a movie's going to be an hour and a half at least.
Yeah, like I said, I've been up since 6 o'clock working.
Right. Yeah.
So
we'll just do that.
Usually by the time 9:30 or 10 rolls around, I'm like watching William Shatner.
I mean,
like,
why are we asking
going,
them? We run this shit. You know what I'm saying? We're the bosses.
Well, I know that, but it's like I do like
going,
to, I do like to like take advice from people.
See?
Like if more people want to see that than like just see a random movie that we don't even know what it is.
They're going sweet. Yeah, do that.
Okay, we'll do Fear House then.
Okay, we'll do Fear House.
I mean, like I said, we have so many episodes. We're never gonna. It's not
I'd rather just sit back.
Not
and
like
Fear
we're ever
House.
gonna run out.
It's only 45 minutes, and fucking those things are fun.
Yeah.
And they're going, yeah, do Fear. All right, watch Fear House tonight. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow.
All right, that'll be good.
Okay. We're gonna watch it right now.
Watch that. Yeah, we're gonna watch it right now. Well, in a couple minutes. Yeah, well, I haven't even finished that one.
Okay.
So I'm still good.
I could put some more ice in it if you want.
I was talking like a bunch, so I didn't really
put
get a
ice in
chance
that?
to. Yeah, sure, why not?
All right. Okay.
And then it'll like water it down some.
yeah.
But yeah, so tomorrow, okay, so we'll do another haunting episode tomorrow. We'll do Fear House. So if you want to watch it and play along or whatever, then you can do that. So we will see you guys again tomorrow evening. Good night.